conventions, what did we do? I think overall we made a pretty conventional opening to a thriller. We had a pretty conventional plot. We had enigmas about why the two twins were alone, where their father went, why one was more controlling over the other, why was there such a protective sort of feel about one of them. We have sort of why is the other one running away, obviously with our opening shot. Where is she running? Who is she running from? Is she running from her sister? Is she running from something else to her sister? Etc. etc. I think enigmas was a huge part of our thriller, and I think that it's a huge part of any thriller, really. Very, very important part of the thriller. It's one of the, it is one of the key points of a thriller genre. I guess also we had a pretty, complex narrative structure. I think we would develop one anyway. I mean, obviously there's going to be the running away. I think throughout the course of the rest of the film, if it was to be made, there'd have to be some form of explanation about where the parents are, what happened to the father, what happened to the mother, were they dead, did the twins kill them, why aren't the rest of the family getting involved, why aren't social services getting involved. I think there'd have to be quite a few different leads. I think when the sister actually runs away, I think there would have to be sort of a split narrative there, because there's obviously the two protagonists are going to be in a completely different settings, and so we're going to have to follow two different leads in the film there. So I think that might develop out into be quite a complex narrative structure. Also, crime is normally involved within the narrative, and I think when we were actually talking about the entirety of our film plot, that the twins had actually killed their father. So there was a murder. I don't really remember what we said about the mother, but I think the father was definitely murdered by the two twins, and I think that pretty much covers the crime aspect in this, the core centre of a film. I think that's pretty good. I guess our mise-en-scène was kind of did represent the mental state of the protagonist. They lived in a den, which was, there was clothes strung over it, which would suggest sort of a messy environment, would suggest an unstable environment. It would suggest sort of a very makeshift, very sort of thinking on your feet sort of environment, which is where I think we really see the bad twin come into her own, because she's clearly leading the good twin around, and she's clearly thinking on her feet. I think she's definitely the brains behind the operation, and I think they're kind of on the run. They're on the run from killing their father. They don't want people to find him, and the bad twin is really trying to step up and be sort of the mother figure to the other twin, and she's really having to sort of think on her feet. She's having to sort of come up with stuff, and I think this unstable and messy and unreliable environment sums up what's going on in her head. She knows that there's an unreliability about their life. She knows that they're not a stable, they don't have a stable lifestyle going. And I think that is, when you actually look at the bad twin in that way, and you take away from her controlling nature and her overprotectiveness of, her sister, I think you can actually sort of almost sympathise with the bad twin. I mean, she's doing a lot. Yes, she is being a control freak, but she's taken the role of a mother in this, and I think that's something we've really got to sort of look at. I mean, she's quite demanding and she's quite commanding, but I mean, that's also that I guess that comes from the mothering role, really. I mean, you have to look after your children, don't you? You have to sort of, you have. It's how that works. So I kind of feel that so far we made a pretty much sort of conventional type thriller. I guess where we might be breaking conventions or challenging convention is by having two female leads. two very strong female leads. I mean, it's very rare that if you see a female lead in a thriller or a horror, they're usually sort of victims. They're not normally the protagonists, the heroes, I guess. But you know, by having two, I think we really took a bit of a leap there. I think having two female teenage protagonists is pretty. It's kind of out there, I must admit. I don't know many films with that. In any genre, really. I mean, but for thriller, that's pretty. It's kind of new, so I guess that's sort of a development we've done. You know, I don't think we really set out to challenge major conventions. We didn't want to do a big controversial film plot. It's never where we really intended. We wanted a pretty standard psychological, psychotraumatic thriller. You know, we wanted something. We were sort of going for borderline horror. You know, we wanted it to creep people out. We wanted it to freak people out, and we hope that will do. Like when we actually get later into the plot. I mean, our opening's pretty tame, but you do get the sinister undertones coming through on it, and that's what we wanted. We wanted quite a subtle opening, and then hopefully the film itself would have evolved into something much more crafty and sinister and possibly quite potentially scary and sort of creepy, hopefully. But we don't know. We never really made the rest of the film, obviously. So yeah, I think overall we didn't really want to sort of majorly challenge conventions. We probably have done that by choosing female leads, and that. But we didn't really set out to completely go, hey, we are changing the face of thriller genre. You know, that's not where we went with this. We wanted quite a conventional, quite a normal sort of, you know, a normal thriller. We wanted something that the audiences would know, would recognise as thriller sort of conventions, be the sort of, you know, the genre that they all like, and then hopefully from that they will then take an interest in our film. I think if you change, you know, the conventions of a genre too far, that the audience might sort of more turn away from the film than turn to it out of interest. They might sort of turn away from it in sort of dislike, because it's not following the types of films that they like. So I think we had to be careful if we did change anything. I mean, obviously, according to Steve Neill, that, you know, repetition and difference is important. I mean, because that's how genres progress. That's how, you know, new genres come about. That's how new ideas come about. But I don't think we really wanted to make any huge statements within our work. So yeah, average conventional thriller, I think, was where we were going with it. Yeah.